What is going on, everybody? AHS Rules back again with another video, and we're here for another Ring of Honor TV review, episode number 95 to be exact. And this is a very, 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 very important and big Ring of Honor TV review. This is the last one prior to Final Battle 2024, the go home, as they say. So we got a lot to go through. I'm going to review and talk about everything that happened on the 95th episode of Ring of Honor on Honor Club, and then I'm going to provide a Final Battle preview and predictions as well. So like I said, there's a lot to go through, and good enough for y'all, I watched it live. Normally, I wait till it is archived and delayed. That way I could take my time watching this and I could pause and whatnot. But I watched it live. I paused it once and realized that was a mistake and got it the rest of the way through. So this is I'm trying to get this up as early as possible. That way you have enough time to watch and know what the hell is going to happen at Final Battle before the event takes place. But Final Battle is tomorrow night at the Hammerstein Ballroom, and I will be saying the words Final Battle a lot more throughout the course of this video. So, starting off, our opening contest, a very quick matchup between Khan and Lee Johnson, which Lee Johnson faced Khan's tag partner, Toa Liona of the Gates of Agony, on last week, so he's facing the other Gates of Agony tonight. But this time around, last week, Lee Johnson and Toa Liona was just one-on-one, no partners were at ringside. Now, this week, Lee Johnson's partner, EJ Adoka, was at ringside. Khan's partner, Toa Liona, was at ringside. I spent a lot of time talking about this. Lee Johnson got dominated for a majority of this match, but was able to win off of a roll-up and banged his knee up during the course of this match. So, Lee Johnson did pick up the victory, and I will say all the Final Battle matches at the whenever I preview the Final Battle portion of this. But a lot were also announced during the course of this episode. So it was announced during the course of this episode on the 0 hour that it will be the Gates of Agony versus Lee J, which I may not refer to them as that again because I personally don't like saying the name. As another match that was announced during the course of this week was a pure title open challenge. And we're joined backstage by Lee Moriarty, who was interviewed in the back and asked, is he willing to defend his championship against anyone? And kind of not the best question to ask, considering he's going to have to do that in this open challenge. And he said that he has already done that during the course of this championship run, and he has dominated when people have not expected him to, and he wants the best at Final Battle. I will say, open challenges are very tricky in the world of wrestling, because there's been several instances where there have been people that have not liked the person answering it, and especially if it's on a pay-per-view, you need somewhat of a big name. But I will mention my two picks later on, and I think we got a good chance of both, considering they both work for AEW and Ring of Honor. So we'll get to that when we get to that. As another Final Battle preview happened in the women's TV title match, as they were in the backstage area as well, and Layla mentions that it was both Layla Hirsch and Red Velvet in a face-to-face, and Layla mentions that she had Velvet beat last week in that fatal four-way match, and that Athena and Billie Starkz were in the way, but they will not be in the way at Final Battle to save her. And Red Velvet's like, if you can beat me, prove it. So, very short and to the point there. So we have a one-on-one contest between Lady Frost and Queen Aminata next. Back and forth early, including an exchange of forearms between the two. Frost lands a spinning kick and then a standing moonsault for a 2 count. Aminata lands several backbreakers and a massive running boot for a 2 count. Frost hits a top rope clothesline for a 2 count. And then you can obviously tell that the pinfalls were not working, as Aminata applied a head scissors to win the matchup via a submission. Another Final Battle preview happened here, and this one was very, very intense and a bit of a graphic warning provided prior to it happening. But we see Dustin Rhodes arriving at his wrestling school, and we realize that the cameramen are the righteous, and they wait for Dustin to go into his school. He's starting to clean up his ring, and then Vincent attacks him from behind and even has the cowbell, and they attack Dustin Rhodes. And to add injury to insult, they FaceTime Sammy Guevara off of Dustin Rhodes' phone. And for the longest time, Sammy was not reacting to it, which he did not react to it until they showed Dustin was beat up, which, to be honest, if I was in Sammy's position, I don't know how I would have reacted to that. But There will be a tag team title match at Final Battle in a Texas bull rope cowbell match. I keep wanting to call it bull rope. Texas bull rope cowbell. I wrote down the exact match whenever it happens, but it is Dustin and Sammy versus the Righteous. There's going to be another tag team match. The Iron Savages versus the Murder Machines. Who is the Murder Machines? Brian Cage and Lance Archer. Cage and Bronson start the match off, but neither can get an advantage off of shoulder bumps. And then the same happens once Boulder and Archer tag in. Bronson dives onto Cage on the outside while Boulder hits a Vader Bomb on Archer for 2. Then Archer stops them from hitting a big splash together. And this sets up Cage and Archer to win off of a choke slam into a power bomb. And then after the match, Brian Cage suggests that Don Callis, who did accompany them at ringside, to beat up Boulder and stomp him out, and he does what Brian Cage told him to do, and Don Callis stomps out Boulder in a bit of a funny moment. This next segment, I'll also say, because I'm filming this Thursday night, the Grizzlies game is on. I've yet to look over at the TV to see what has happened, because it's a very intense matchup, but they're currently up 96-50, so we're in a good spot. But Ja did go to the back, so I'm a bit worried. But if I start, because I won't lie, I did blank and forget about the game for a second. So if I keep looking over here, you know why. But I'm also trying to see Ja's questionable to return. So that kind of answered that hilariously. This next segment, I don't know if it was meant to be fun. I think it was meant to be serious. But some of the things that were said and happened, I kind of chuckled at and laughed at. And, you know, I have this thought process in my head that behind every joke is a little bit of truth. And that kind of was what happened here. But we're having a face-to-face standoff. Again, another Final Battle preview. But this time around, Ian Riccaboni is sitting backstage. He's supposed to interview Jay Lethal and QT Marshall. But QT Marshall is late to this meeting. Jay Lethal wants to accredit everything that he has done in his career to Ring of Honor. And then QT Marshall feels very disrespected by Jay Lethal because he declined his first offer into wrestling him. And Jay Lethal said he just didn't want to wrestle him. He wanted something that would put him in a championship opportunity, and he did not think that QT Marshall would do that, which is fine and dandy. Then Ian Riccaboni. This is where it kind of gets serious and funny, and I think, again, I kind of was overthinking this, but Ian Riccaboni mentions that these two have wrestled before in the 2012 Survival of the Fittest in a one-on-one match. And what is also fitting about that, and they did not mention that, Jay Lethal also won that Survival of the Fittest. Regardless, QT Marshall injured his neck during the course of this match, and it was a big deal, and he never really knew how he would recover from this. And the funny part to me is, like, QT Marshall was like, I had to shave my head. I was bald. And he, like, looked at Jay Lethal's head, and I think they were trying to make a joke about Jay Lethal being bald, but, like, Jay Lethal brushed it off and didn't even, like, really mention it. Again, I just thought that kind of got overblown, and then they start getting face-to-face with one another, and everybody's like, please don't wrestle one another. And then QT punches Jay Lethal, and I'll give credit. He had a great right hand. So this one-on-one match will be taking place at Final Battle. As now, we go through our throwback match of the week, an extremely fitting match, as it is last year's Final Battle main event, that more than likely will be this year's main event as well again. Women's title match, Athena versus Billie Starkz. We got the red pin, and you know what? I went even crazy for y'all this week. I used the red pin to write down the Final Battle matches as well. So, for last year's Final Battle, the main event, Athena versus Billie Starkz. Starkz starts off with a lot of forearms, and Athena takes it to the outside, using the guardrail on several occasions. Athena continues the attack back of the ring, and then Stark tries to fight back, but she is caught with an Athena headbutt, and it is way more damaging because Athena had a protective mask on. Starkz hits a big dive to the outside, but hits her knee running into the barricade. Starkz then reverses Athena into a suplex off of the announce table. This then leads to them brawling into the crowd, and before they can go back over the guardrail, Athena pushes Starkz off of the barricade. And then back in the ring, Athena hits a big German suplex off the second rope for a close 2 count. The referee is knocked down, and Athena demands Lexi Nair, who is at ringside being the guest ring announcer. I almost said commentator, but ring announcer, to hand over her title. That way she could attack Starkz with it, and Lexi does not want to do that. It takes so long that Starkz realizes what is happening and hits a drop kick on Athena, and then a Starkz clash for a 2 count. Athena is then able to hit an electric chair, or is hit with an electric chair driver on the apron. Taking a while to get back in the ring. Starkz misses on the swan dive, and then Starkz is able to kick out of the despicable knee. A maneuver that has not been hit in a minute by Athena, but maybe there's a good reason for that because Starkz kicked out at 1. Then Starkz reverses the O-face, but cannot handle a head scissors that leads to Athena winning after Starkz gives up. And like I said, these two will be running it back at this year's Final Battle again, as we do have 3 more matches on this episode. The next match of this is Serpentico versus Sydney Akeem. We get wrist locks, arm drags, and a handful of handstands from the two, mainly Akeem. Akeem jumps out of a way of a Serpentico dropkick, and then Akeem hits a moonsault for a 2 count. Serpentico reverses a suplex attempt into a splash and wins the matchup. As the 2 Final Battle opponents team up this week, as Billie, Starkz, and Athena take on Blair, Onyx, and Missa Kate. Starkz and Athena, however, they are beefing. They had separate entrances, and Athena and Kate are going to start the match off, but Athena quickly tags out and wants Starkz to do all the work. And Starkz spends a lot of this matchup trying to impress or argue with Athena, to the point that Athena tags herself in and just starts throwing Starkz into their opponent several times over. And Starkz, to be fair, is a team player here and takes the damage. And Athena wins off of that same head scissors that she won the Final Battle main event with. And they do not even get to celebrate together because Starkz runs off and has Athena's custom-made women's championship that Lexi Nair presented and rips the spinner plate and the picture of Athena off of it and damages the belt. This prompts Athena to go attack her, and the 2 brawl until the security are able to come out and separate them. What should be the Final Battle main event is these 2, but the 2 people that are potentially on their way, because it is a double main event, are Chris Jericho and Matt Cardona, and we're shown footage of Chris Jericho showing up at last week's GCW show to attack Matt Cardona and give him a message about he can do what he wants when he wants. As our main event this week is a massive 8-man tag involving the Grizzled Young Veterans and Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty versus the Dark Order and Undisputed Kingdom. Reynolds and Gibson start the match off. The Dark Order and Kingdom put their boots together that way that Moriarty's face can be pushed into them. Taven gets trapped in his opponent's corner, and then the Grizzled Young Veterans keep knocking their opponents off of the apron, and this doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things because everybody starts to brawl in and out of the ring to the point where there's a distraction, and Moriarty is able to get a roll-up, also holding onto the ropes, and is able to win this matchup over Taven, which I also kind of neglected that was the matchup that happened last week in that pure title matches. That is everything prior to Final Battle. Also, a lot of the people involved in... So, this main event was kind of a Final Battle preview in itself because the Grizzled Young Veterans are facing the Dark Order, and the Undisputed Kingdom are facing Shane Taylor Promotions, the Infantry. So, that was kind of a Final Battle preview in itself, but we're here for the big portion of this review, and something I've been looking forward to, the Final Battle preview / predictions. Now, I will say this. I'm going to be I'm going to give a positive about several of these situations because this show's been looked at in a very negative and questionable sense. Because very rare, I am sometimes negative when we come on these ROH reviews, but a lot of times it's just me over questioning things and thinking about things. And so it's going to be kind of a combination of everything. I'm going to try to be positive, I'm going to try to be negative, and I'm going to question some of the things that are happening. But as of right now, 13 matches are scheduled for this event, with 4 on the 0 hour. Things could change. I would be surprised if it is or not, but time will tell. There's obviously one surprise up our sleeves in the pure title match. Might be the match to look forward to the most, to be fair. But like I said, I'm going to try to give a positive and a negative about several of these situations. The one positive I will say, off the rip, is that I've been asking for ROH for these pay-per-views. Announce a lot of this stuff in advance. Don't wait till like a week before or a day before to do that. And as of right now, if you look at the thumbnail and the poster, that poster was made last week. So up until like a week ago, a lot of this was already announced, and then they added stuff tonight. So a lot of this was kind of announced in advance. Granted, is it the best things? Time will tell. But let's get on and talk about the matches that were announced for the 0 hour. As we have 3 tag matches and a one-on-one women's singles match. That being Harley Cameron versus Hanako. I will be honest with you, do not know much about Hanako. And Harley Cameron, when she normally competes in Ring of Honor, wins. So I'm going to go with Harley Cameron to win. Tag team matchups have kind of been building up and over the past couple of weeks. The first one is Lee Johnson and EJ Ndoku versus the Gates of Agony. Again, very rarely do the Gates of Agony lose, so I'm going to go with them to win this matchup. The Grizzled Young Vets will be taking on the Dark Order. The Grizzled Young Vets have not liked how the locker room in Ring of Honor / AEW has been, and the Dark Order have kind of made fun of them for how they feel about that. So I think the Grizzled Young Vets are going to get their revenge in this matchup. And a matchup that has happened several times this year, but is going to happen once more. The Infantry versus the Undisputed Kingdom. Those matchups that have happened prior, the Undisputed Kingdom have had the upper hand and have won them, even several tag team title matches. But now the Infantry have a bit of a different edge to them now that they're in Shane Taylor Promotions. I think that the Infantry are going to finally win against the Undisputed Kingdom. So now we move on to the main card. Announced on tonight's show was Mansoor versus former Ring of Honor television champion Atlantis Jr. It's very funny that Atlantis Jr. never got his title rematch. It is not even in the Survival of the Fittest match later on, but maybe we'd rather see him compete against Mansoor. So I'll give Atlantis Jr. the edge in this. Very interesting match. Katsuyori Shibata versus the Dynamite Kid, Tommy Billington. It's going to be good to see Shibata in the side of the Hammerstein, so I'm going to go with Shibata to win. As now we have Jay Lethal, a Ring of Honor legend, making his return against QT Marshall. QT Marshall is trying to ride the wave of popularity he's gotten over the last month or so in his beef that he had with that whole Costco family. I completely blanking out on their names and whatnot, but he's riding the wave of that. Jay Lethal is looking to get on a roll and to get back to what he's doing in Ring of Honor past. And he's trying to win gold, and this is going to be his first step in that. I'm going to go with Jay Lethal to win this. As now, we have a TV title Survival of the Fittest match. This is the first thing. This is weird, because this should... there's a lot that I have to digest with this. The Survival of the Fittest used to mean something. Ring of Honor used to mean something, sure. But Survival of the Fittest, like, when you look at the name and you say the name, it used to be like an endurance test and like a big deal, because you had to like win a match to qualify, then you got to beat out other guys to win the match. I probably could have phrased that a lot better, but it used to mean something. Now, granted, looking at it from a positive side, it's getting a lot more people on the card involved in a match, and they probably would have just rather done a six-pack challenge, but it's just like, well, Ring of Honor has a specialty match that's like that. Let's just do that. But the Survival of the Fittest used to mean something. It used to be an endurance test, and it doesn't really mean that much anymore, considering we had one at Death Before Dishonor, and nobody had to qualify for it. And this time, again, nobody had to qualify it, and a lot of these people that are in this match have challenged for the TV title recently and lost, you know? But if this was like the new pay-per-view tradition for Ring of Honor, that every pay-per-view for the TV title, the top 5 contenders get their chance to step up and win, I wouldn't be that against it. Unless you like are building up like a TV title rivalry, which in this instance, Brian Cage hasn't consistently been on TV enough for that to happen. I wouldn't be mad if this was like a new tradition. But who all is in this TV title Survival of the Fittest match? Brian Cage defending against Willie Mack, AR Fox, Commander, Blake Christian, who I jokingly was talking to somebody about this. I'm like, Blake Christian's going to be on this show strictly because of his freaking meme. And here he is, and he's in a damn title match because of it. And the last competitor, former Ring of Honor Tag Team Champion, Mark Davis. I'm going to go with Brian Cage to win. I spent a lot of time talking about that match just to easily have a prediction for it. As we go to the women's TV title side of things, Red Velvet versus Layla Hirsch. I think this is going to be the first title change of the night. I'm going with Layla Hirsch to win it. I think she would have had a good chance of winning a lot earlier if she had not gotten injured, sadly. So I'm going with Layla Hirsch to win. As now we have a tag team title Texas bull rope match. I keep freaking saying Texas cowbell match because the cowbell has been continuously used. But a tag team title Texas bull rope match. The Sons of Texas, the Ring of Honor tag team champions, Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara, defending against the Righteous. The Righteous, mainly Dutch, have talked badly about Dustin Rhodes and his relationship with his father, and that Dutch himself had a better relationship with Dustin Rhodes' father, and that he even got the cowbell that is going to be used in this matchup. And Dustin Rhodes and Sammy have tried their best to not let this break them up and be mad at one another. I will say that they've been building this up for the past month or so, so I will give them credit there. But Ring of Honor has a stacked tag division. I don't know if I would have said at Final Battle, the Righteous should get that tag title shot, but that's just me nitpicking. We got at least 3 other tag matches on this show. But I think that Dustin and Sammy will retain. Also, absolutely no clue where the Von Erichs are and the status of the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team titles. They never get mentioned. Now, it's 125 to 68, 8 minutes left. There's no real reason for Ja to come back, but I at least want to see him on the bench. So, good effort by my Memphis Grizzlies. Probably the match I am looking forward to the most, and also the match that I could be the most disappointed in, as is the Pure Title Open Challenge, Lee Moriarty versus question mark. Like I said, doing open challenges is risky business because you don't know the lane that you're going to be in and who the hell is going to be available and whatnot. I'm going to pick Lee Moriarty to win. My 2 suggestions, and I wrote this when they announced this on Instagram, I commented my 2 suggestions right away. 2 Ring of Honor alumni that compete and have done well in pure wrestling before. Kyle O'Reilly, who I kind of want to see in the Pure division anyways, because in his time period in Ring of Honor, the Pure title wasn't around, so now he can thrive and try to compete for the Pure titles. But Kyle O'Reilly is suggestion number 1, and suggestion number 2 is the popular pick, a Ring of Honor legend in himself, and the damn man that made the Pure title what it was, Nigel McGuinness. He's competed several times this year already in AEW. Let him return home to Ring of Honor. And he's talked very highly about Lee Moriarty before. This would be a past versus present matchup if we could ever get it. So I would suggest Nigel McGuinness or Kyle O'Reilly. If it is not them, it better be, I don't know. Time will tell. This is the match, I will say, time will tell with it. Now we go to our double main event. Ring of Honor World Title match. Chris Jericho versus Matt Cardona. If I could make a Christmas wish, I would hope this match is 1, 2, 3. Neither man's music hits. Instead, Samoa Joe's music hits, and that he beats the shit out of both and takes the title for himself. But that's just me wishful thinking. I've talked about this match several times already. I would imagine that they're going to bring in outside eyes to watch this matchup, but in the big 2024, I don't even know if that's really the case. But I'm going to go with Chris Jericho winning because I don't really see Matt Cardona being a long-time figure in Ring of Honor. I can really say the same for Chris Jericho, but at least he has the title already. As now the people's main event, the more than likely real main event, and the main event we had last year, running it back for the women's title, Athena versus Billie Starkz. I've compared it to Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes last week when they made this announcement. But it's just this storyline kind of took a step back. I will give credit because Athena dominated and competed regularly in 2023 and did a lot in 2023. But when it comes to 2024, she took a step back and was not competing as much. And I do think it hurt the storyline because it's kind of on again, off again. And then they introduced the women's TV title and it just was what it was. And then this, they did not really start picking up and teasing this until the last month or so. But if you've been watching and figuring it out, and again, like I said with Roman and Cody, If you watch WrestleMania 39, you're like, they got to run that back at some point. If you watched Athena and Billie Starkz last year and you saw Athena win, you're like, they got to run that back at some point. Athena's held this title for 2 straight years. She's talked time and time again how she has ran this division. I think it's time to give someone else a chance to do that. And I think Billie Starkz is going to have that opportunity to do it. And also, this is just me overthinking. Athena's already qualified for the International Women's Cup at Wrestle Dynasty. It is going to be weird that in this hypothetical scenario, she's not the women's champion. But I think I could see her winning that match at Wrestle Dynasty, and then she gets a women's title match for any title of her choice, and she could pick any title of her choice, obviously. Should she come back to the Ring of Honor to go for that title? Probably wouldn't be the more popular choice because people are ready to see her do something else. So there's a lot that I could have said more about Final Battle. In short, I'm going to be happy to see this at Hammerstein Ballroom. We get 3 Ring of Honor pay-per-views a year, which as somebody that watches Ring of Honor every freaking week and reviews it, I kind of wish we got more, or at least you present the TV show as like a special event every so often. But whenever we get one of these rare treats of a pay-per-view, I'll watch them, obviously. Especially, it's a lot easier to watch them now because they're on Honor Club as well. If you're subscribed to Honor Club, you get to watch the show. You don't really have an excuse not. You probably do. But you get the show on Honor Club. I'm trying not to rant and ramble too much, but it's probably going to happen anyways. Regardless, looking forward to it. Glad it's going to be in Hammerstein. There will be a lot to digest on next week's review, more than likely, in the fallout of Final Battle. I'm trying to think if there's like anything else I need to say before I stop recording. Nothing that I really know of. So if you're going to the event, have fun, stay safe. Watching the event at home, same things apply as well. So I'll be watching this. I plan on watching the event. I'm going to hope that I get to watch the event. But should have a lot of fun. I'm going to stop fucking talking because I've been talking for way too long. So I do appreciate y'all for watching this. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe. If there's anything else I need to add or say, I will do so in the comments. So talk to me in the comments if you want to. I'm out before I keep talking. So bye-bye. I'll see you in the next one.